No, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Okay. Uh, Fine. So today we will see how we can connect this MySQL database in Python. Okay. So we'll start with that. So I will give this base functions of all the code, whatever it is there. So this you can, while performing the project, import the data what we downloaded previously and load that data using all these functions. Okay. So this would be like the base functions, same functions you use it even if you work on this in the next way or any time later of this, you can use the same code whatever it is there. It would be the common code for connecting database. Okay, so I would not spend much time on the base codes, but I will try to explain those codes properly. Okay. uh, okay, so today's session will see about how we can connect the MySQL in Python. Okay, so as I told previously, I have installed MySQL in the last class to install. So I have installed my SQL here. Okay, so I have created some database. Okay, so we will be using this database here. So I shared this query also with you guys, right? Um, okay, so what I will do in this class, I will delete this table first. Okay, so what I will do, I will drop this. I'll keep this database, but delete all this. Or we can create a new data also. I will drop the schema for now. Okay, so we'll create a, there is some database called school I already created. I will drop that also. So these are the default database. It will be there when you install the workbench, no, MySQL. Okay, so workbench is used to connect that. Okay, so this is what we have. So first what we will do, we will create a database. Okay, so which contains of four tables. This is
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can hear me right now?
Yes, sir. Now it is audible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So see what we will do. Assume there are. This is the URD diagram of the database. What we are going to create now. So there are things like totally there are, we will create four tables. One is teacher, then client and courses and participants. Okay. And similarly, we have the database connection of each tables. Okay. For example, the client database and course database will be get connected with maybe there is some offers, and we will have course ID. Okay, for this as a primary key. Similarly, this course and the participants has a primary key of participant ID, the client ID, and this teacher ID. Okay, and similarly, we have some reference keys also. For example, here teacher and teacher will get connected. and the client will get connected. So this is the database. We are going to perform the work area today. Assume this is a database and it contains 4 tables in it. Okay. So then most thing is to notice, like, we have many attributes in the table. Each table will have different kind of task associated with it. Okay. And what we will do first, we will create all these tables. First we will create a database called school. Then what we will do, we will create this all the 4 tables uh, with some data in it. I mean schema. Okay, then once we created a schema, we will add some dummy data. So to do it fastly, I have already shared you guys all, the queries, SQL queries in the last class. I have uploaded it. So for example, if you want to create a teacher table, so this is a query to create it. If I want to create a table called client, this is a query. So similarly, participants query, then the course table query. And as I told, we need to connect the tables between each others, right? So we know we have seen the foreign key already. Okay, so I have given something called alter participants, alter key. So if you see it, first line is alter table, then it will add a foreign key and it will reference a client. Okay, so it will connect 2 things. Okay, this queries will apply reference key. So once we alter all the 4 tables, then we will add some dummy data in all the teacher, client, participants, and the course. Okay, in all this we will add some dummy data. So all this we will not do from SQL, so we will do from Python. Okay. Any questions on the CRD diagram you guys have? Any questions on the ERD diagram? Any questions on the ERD diagram? Okay. Please don't put on chat. I might be in different screens, might not able to check it. Okay. Uh, Today I'm only joined. No more co-part anchors here. Okay. Fine. So as I told, what we will see how we can import a library in Python, and how we can connect to a MySQL server. Then how we can create a database, and how to create a function which connects to the database, and how we can write the queries function to run it. And apart from that, we will see how we can create those tables and map a foreign key. Okay, so once we complete this part, rest all same, like we just need the query, and Python will execute that query. Okay, and we'll see how we can populate the datas, and apart from that we will see CURD operations, CURD. Okay, I will explain what is CRUD operation. We will read the data, update the data, create the data, delete the data. C means create the data. We'll see how we will create a data. It is like C defines creating a table. Then R means reading the data. How we can read the data and use that data from SQL to Pandas, we'll see. And U we will see about like how we can update the data and delete the data. Okay. So this is about the CRUD operation. Okay. Normally, if you take any kind of frameworks like REST APIs or SQL, even as I told in the previous class, REST APIs will also have certain level of update, delete, and operations like put, post, and all, right. So similar to that, SQL has some operations called CRUD. Okay, CRUD. Maybe in normally we call that as CRUD, but when you pronounce it as like CRUD. Like C defines for create operation, denotes for reading the data, D denotes for deleting it, U denotes for deleting operation. Okay. Any doubts on this? Like what CRUD means? This is the main operations which performed on the SQL area. Any questions on CRUD?
No.
Oh, okay. So we saw libraries like Pandas and NumPy. Okay. Similar to that, there is one more library which helps on connecting the databases like MySQL connector Python. Okay. So what it does is like since I have a database already with me installed, so this is my database. Okay. So I have already created it. Okay. So this database is already created. So in the previous class, I told how you can download. Once you download and install, you will get this both, this and that. Okay. So after that, use this thing and install the library. Once you install, you have to import this library, mysql.connector. Okay. So from that, um, so this is to handle error and pandas we know, which is similar to that what we have did. Okay. So first thing what we will do, we will try how we can connect this database to there. Okay. So what we can do, I have created an empty function. Okay. So to connect to any database, it requires four parameters. Okay. The host address where the server got hosted and the username and the password for it. Okay. Okay, so there is another kind of connection like you will give the database name and connect to the database. So here we will connect to the root database and perform the operation. Okay, so how the password can be get is like click on the home icon. So by default there will be on database connection. Okay, so this will get connected. To know the password of it, you can click on edit function. Okay, here you can see that by default it will be root. Okay, while you install it, it will be hosted on localhost and the port of the connection is 3306 and the username is root and the password will be defaultly root. Okay, if you click on test connection, you should get successfully made connection. What we will do, we will take this information and put it in the Python code. Okay, so first, what we will do, we will try to connection. Okay, so I will create a variable called connection. Okay, then what I will do, I will use that MySQL dot connector dot we need to connect to a connection, right? So connect. Okay, then it accepts three parameters. Basically, we need a host, right? So that is host underscore name, which is previously defined at the top here. Okay, along with that, I might need the username. So in the case of mine, it is root. Okay, so username. Okay, then I need a user password. So I will put as password. Okay, then user underscore password. Okay, so we created this. Now what I will do, I want to create a database called school. Okay, uh, if the data name is there, it will create in the we will create in the next step. Like if it is not there, no issues. But I just want to keep a name here. Okay, so what it will do, my username of this database is root and it is hosted on localhost 3306. So here by default, if you give localhost, MySQL connector will take the default port of the SQL. Okay, the default port where SQL will be hosted is 3360 06. If you want to change it while installing itself, it will ask for you to change the port. Okay, if you guys tried installing, it will be shown. What the purpose of this function is to check whether our database is able to connect. Okay, this is not needed. Okay, if we run this code, it says it's able to connect to the database for a root. Okay, for example, I will change something to root 1. Okay, so it will throw an error because we don't have any users called root. We have root some which I and new user, only three users are there. So it is able to connect to root, but since there is no root 1 in the users, it's unable to connect. Okay, so again, if you run this code, the strike block will get executed, an exception block will be thrown. Any questions on the server connection check? So this function you can use to check the database is alive or not. If the database is not alive, an exceptions will be thrown, or any if the user access doesn't exist or anything. Any questions on here, like regarding the database connection? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So next we will see how to create a database with our connections, what we have seen here. Okay, what we should do. Okay, so now we have created a connection here, right? So this is our connection. Okay, so if someone, if I want to connect to a database, I need to create a connection in Python. So connection I have created. Now I should perform an operation to create a database. Okay, so I will write a function now to create a database. So I will, what I will do, I will create a function called, now I have created a connection object. Okay, now I need to pass a query to that object to run it. So okay, so how that can be done? Basically I need to create a new database, okay, to run on the connection which created. Okay, so if I connect to inside here, you can see there are 1 2 3 4 database. I just want to create a new database. Okay, so I will create a function called create database. Okay, is then in this I need two parameters. One, I need the connection where I should to create, and the query. Okay, query to create a database. Okay, and there is something called a cursor in SQL. Okay, in the data in the Python. Okay, cursor, what it will do, it will help on running the query. So we need to create a cursor object. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a cursor. Okay, so it is like running, which is similar to the run object here. Okay, so it is called as a cursor. So like if you select and run, it will run there. Okay, so for example, I will create a connection. I need to take dot, then I should call the cursor object. Okay, so cursor object is called. Okay, now whatever we pass, it will get run. Cursor, cursor, cursor. Okay, so now what I will do, I will write a try block. Inside a try block, I will try to call this cursor and execute my query. So what I should do, whatever, first I have to call this cursor. Okay, then I have to call the execute function, execute function, then pass the query which should run. Okay, what this will do, it will just run this query whatever you pass into that connection. So I will print like db created uh, successfully. Okay, so we'll make something like db created. If there is an error, I will catch it. Okay, expect, then we'll print this error. So then what I will do, I will create a database, empty database, create database school. So if you don't know what is this is like, this is an SQL query. Okay, so what it does is like it will create a database. Okay, so create database, then is a syntax, then other is like so what this is the syntax to create. Okay, and here whatever we give is the name of the database. Okay, so if you run this, if you run again, it will throw an error because we already ran it once. Okay, so it throws an error. So now if I go here and refresh my database, now school database got created, but it will not have any tables inside it. Any questions on this? Any questions so far?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so this how we can create a database. Okay, using the previous connection what we have done. The first step is create a connection, and next step is create a cursor. Once you create the cursor, execute the query. Okay, so the next flow goes same, whatever. This is same. Okay, whatever we did previously have it is same here. Okay, so there is nothing much. Okay, then what we will do now, what we will do, cursor, which is similar. Okay, so I have explained the functions whatever previously I'm using the function here. So first function is to connect to a database. The next function is to create a cursor and execute the query. Dynamic queries, whatever you give query, it will get executed. Okay, the two support functions I have created, which is similar to whatever we saw. E throws an error here. Okay, it should be. So now error comes fine. Can't create database. Database already exists. Okay, and these are support functions 2.3 and 2.4, which is similar to previous. Okay, what we will do now, we created a database. Now our next task is to create a table. Okay, so I have the query already written here, create table. Okay, so I will just take this query here and put it inside a variable. While writing SQL query in Python, it should be in this quotation mark properly. Okay, so then it will run properly, and we know how to connect to a database, right? First connect to the database here and pass this query here. Okay, it will just create the table. Any questions on this line of code? What is happening here? We have the query here, so we call our connection function, which is there. Okay, once you create a connection and pass this query, so table will get executed. Any questions on this? Now we created our table, teacher table. Okay, so if I go here and refresh it, okay, the teacher table will get created. Okay, but there will not be no database data inside it. The teacher id, first name, last name, language, and the respective informations will get created, and I will tell how this primary key can be modified later. For now, we created a teacher ID with primary key and the first name, last name, or varchar. Varchar is nothing but string objects. So what 3 defines is like, it will accept up to 3, and it is 40 means up to 40 characters. Okay. So tax ID int unique means it will accept always unique IDs. No duplicate IDs will be present. Similarly, primary key, there will not be any duplicate IDs, and rest all goes duplicate. Not null means this column does not accept any null value. The for date defines like what is the date. Okay, so there is no format like YYMMDD. So if you mention as date, it will take the default SQL format. Any questions on this? Like we came to the C operation in the code. Any questions? Any questions on creating the table?
Sir.
Okay, fine. Now we created a table for, so if we see our ERD diagram, so we created our teacher table. Okay, similarly, we will create data for client, course, and participants. So I will take this 3 variables. Okay, so what this 3 variable does is like, it will create table for client and participants and course name, which is similar to whatever we did. Make a single connection and execute the query one by one. Okay, just run it, it will run. Any questions on this, like whatever we did now? It's the same. We just created a single function and running our functions, running our queries. So if I go and refresh my table once again, okay, I will have uh, 4 tables now, which is in my ERD. Teacher have came, client came, participants, course. Any questions on this? Whatever we have did till now.
No, sir.
All right. Okay, fine. So in our ERD diagram, there is other thing called we have something called as so you can use show table also. Like if you want to, you don't know how to use workbench, you can verify by show. I guess it is tables only. I used to work with this mostly with workbench, but you can write queries and check your tables also here. It is show table only, but I don't know why it is throwing error. Even help is throwing error. Okay, you can use cell also to check the comment, but mostly used to work with workbenches. I am checking on workbench directly. Okay, and the next thing is like most important thing is like we created tables. Okay, the next we need to alter the tables. Okay, alter the tables in the sense I just need to create the foreign key. Okay, for example, if you take participants table. Okay, here I have a foreign key of client. Okay, so this client ID is a foreign key for this client. Okay, so this both are connected, interconnected. Okay, so based on this. Okay, so we'll see how we can alter this. So I have the queries for already that. So alter table participants. Okay, what it does, like which table you have to alter. You can use alter for updating the data or whatever operations you have to do. Alter is a query which is used to syntax word which is used. Then the next line, what it defines is like add foreign key. Foreign key we have already seen, which helps on connecting the two database. So what is the reference database we are referring here? So the first defines the table name, the next goes the table column. On delete set null, will set it as null by default of the previous data. Okay. Then we have something called alter course table. Then again we will add another reference table. Okay, so these things are already I have it. I will just take it. So the intuition is not to tell you how to use SQL. It is to tell how you can use Python with SQL. So only I'm not writing any queries here. I just want to help you how you can connect both. Okay. Which is straightforward. Again, create the database and run the query one by one. Okay, there is nothing much here. Okay, so this way it will alter the table. So once you go here and refresh it, you can able to see the foreign keys now. Okay. So previously foreign key might not come, but now you can able to see a foreign key. Okay, so if you click on the schema inspector, somewhere schema will show. Okay, here it is like what is the connector objects like where it got connected. Actually, we can create that schema diagram also from here. But I don't know how to create in this MySQL. I used to create in SQL. Uh, what I was trying to say is like whatever we are seeing here that can be created from here itself in the workbench. So you can Google how to check that. Okay, so we have created this thing. So what we did is like we have first performed a create object, then we have altered the table. Okay, so that is you. So the things which are remaining is reading and deleting operations. Okay, we'll start with reading first. Okay, so the next is reading. So we'll see how we can insert the database into the tables. Okay, so inserting goes like a query. So for example, insert into teacher. Okay, so this is a SQL syntax. Okay, yeah, insert means insert into a particular value. So here it asks for the table name and what are the values you are going to pass. You have to pass like a tuple of arrays with the comma separated. Okay, so how many commas you give, that many values will be added into that. Finally, you have to use a semicolon in SQL. This is a basic SQL syntax. Okay, So it is also straightforward. We are not going to change anything in the base function. It is common. We just add insert, put the insert query and run it. Then if you go to the teachers table and select, so our data will get imported here. Okay. Any questions on here? This? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So similarly, I will import for other data also. Okay. So I have the data here. I already shared an SQL. Okay, so the same whatever I'm using. In case if you ran that thing, whatever previously shared, you might have the data similar to me what I'm showing. Okay, then run it. Okay, so now we have ran for all the tables. So we'll see one by one. So participants we have data, course we have data, the client information is there, course is there, participants data is there, who took course information is there, then teacher information also there. Okay, all now we have all the data. Okay, now it comes the reading part, how we can read a database. Okay, so will it is similar like whatever we can use the same query function what we have used to execute query, but I just modified and kept another function read query. Okay, so there is nothing. Along with that, we have something called result is equal to fetch all. Okay, so what it does is like it will run the query and fetch the result and return it. Okay, later what we will do, we will use this function to read the query and fetch the information and use those results. Okay, this is the read query. Okay, so first we create a connection cursor similar to whatever we did. So once we created a cursor, usually we execute it. Okay, so once you execute a reading query, it will return some values, right? For example, if we ran this query, okay, select star from teacher. Okay. So selects from star school dot teacher if we ran it. So it returns six rows, right? We just need to get this information, fetch this information and store into a variable. So this line of code will fetch all the information in the query which is given and store into the result, and the result will get stored here. Okay. So if I ran this line of code, read query is not defined. Okay, so it will return all the six information which is already present here. Okay, similarly, if you notice one thing, the result are in a tuple of objects. Okay, so I'm using a for loop to get all the information. Okay, so what I will do, we can use similar to this. You can use any queries. So I have written some queries to connect from using where condition, and condition, on condition. So I am not going to explain those SQL concepts here. So okay, but it will run. Okay, so if I want to explain what this is, it is a where condition. The order by will order the queries by ascending and descending. Again, we have a database DOB column. It is less than whoever less than 1990 it will fetch and give. So these are simple SQL queries only. So if you want to read some data with respect to any function, you have to use this read query function, connect to your database and perform a query operation. Okay. And so now we have data in list format, right? Not in a list format. It was in some different format. Okay. So now what we will do, we will take this result, okay, and append into a function. Okay, then we will convert that into a data frame. Okay, that is our next task. So what we will do, first we will try to append. So now if you see, we have a tuple of arrays, right? So we will try to first convert that all this into a list. Then we will convert that into a data frame. Any questions on this, like until here, how to read a query from database? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So so everyone knows like pandas accept something in a different format. Okay, either it can be a dictionary or multiple lists. Okay, this kind of data frame cannot be used. Okay, so I will just simply create a variable from DB, whatever I got, I will append this into a list. Okay, what we will do from DB dot append. Okay, so I will append this list of result. Okay, I don't need the tuple object. I want it to be a list. Okay, so it will be list of list now if I print it. So now if you see, I have a list inside list. I have the information. Okay, but I don't have the column names here. Okay, so how to get the column names are so either you can take from schema, or we need to for example, we'll take this. So how to get column names is like we have to manually add it. Okay, there is no other way to do it. So we have a list now, then we need columns for it. This is course ID, so I just create a sample. I will just take the sample. First I need the column. So these are the column names, and I have the other list here. Okay, so I have column name list and the data list. So what we can do, we will create a data frame, pd dot data frame. Okay, this is my data, and my columns is equal to. Okay, so this way we can get a data from SQL into data frame. Then you can perform your analysis and store this data into again data into SQL. Okay, so we'll see how that can be done. So assume you have the data here. Okay, you perform some analysis. Okay, now you want to update it. There is nothing more on updating, which is similar to whatever we have saw previously. Use the update query and okay, so for example, you did some analysis, found some error on the data. Now you want to update this area. Okay, so use the update query. Okay, and connect to the database with the table name and perform the update operation. It will update the source database. Okay. Uh, any questions on this so far? So I can show you another example like how to use I like whatever we update previously, right? How to we'll see how we can fetch that information. So here we updated like client ID 101. So if you see the client ID in the database, client table, select rows, client ID 101 got updated to this address 23 fingerbook, right? So we just use a read query to print that. Okay, so this will print that whatever we updated. Any questions on this? On the update function? It's straightforward update SQL statement. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. And the next is like delete query, and delete also Like it is straightforward. You can use the same execute query, write a SQL query to delete it, and run your code, so it will get deleted. So if you see 20 is previously present, if you run this, 20 will go away. You can either able to perform all the CRUD operations with respect to SQL in Pandas. Okay, not in the Pandas, in Python using SQL connector. So almost we come to the end of it. There is an insert query which is similar to whatever we seen. The main two things, as I previously told, it is noting is like how you can convert the data received uh, from the SQL to Pandas data frame. So once you give this format, you perform your analysis and update into the database. And other thing is how you create a function to read the query, create a database, and to create a connection. So these are the main things. Okay, I will share this base notebook. So this notebook can be used anywhere. Okay, there is no specific use case you have to use. You can use across any projects. So this is the base code. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask. And the next thing is like any questions here before going to the next part? Any questions? Last class recording is not uploaded. Okay, I will check on that. I thought it's uploaded. Any other questions? Okay. So we have, I told to you guys to download a data previously, right? And perform analysis using Pandas. So do one thing, create your own SQL database, okay? And upload all this data into this database and fetch the data using MySQL connector, okay? And perform the analysis using Pandas. Okay, any doubt on it? So maybe uh, so we saw things like we have data, right? So you have to create a database, okay? Okay, you have to create a DB like whatever I have shown and import all this data, whatever the CSV files you have downloaded. There might be more than 40 CSV files, right? Okay, so load all this CSV files into the database. Okay, then use SQL connector. Okay, to connect that database. Okay, then read those data and convert into a data frame. Okay, then call your SQL pandas analysis functions what we have created, like whatever it has done previously. Okay, so then keep up to here. Okay, then next class we will see how we can visualize those results